part 2 of the Thomas Jefferson presidency. So as we were saying up here, the deserters were taken from the Chesapeake, tried in August of 1807. English deserters that were found guilty, they were hanged. Americans and all others were sentenced to prison, and we did not get them back. They went to British prisons, even though they were from America. In October, King George issued an order to set up the impressment of British sailors, and particularly those serving on American merchant ships. The British were calling the Americans bluff, and they were winning. So, in 1807, the U.S. passes the Embargo Act. It is at the request of President Jefferson. The Embargo Act stated that American ships could not carry cargo to foreign ports, and that foreign ships could not load cargo in American ports. This political cartoon, published during the Embargo Act, criticizes the act. It's called, as you see here, you see Orgamabame. It's embargo spelled backwards. So right here. Anyway, you need to link this with the Embargo Act, this political cartoon. And this Embargo Act that President Jefferson wants and he gets, it actually ends up being a stain on his presidency. Usually two-term presidents have some sort of a scandal or something going on that kind of blemishes their record. This is Jefferson's, like Washington had Jay's Treaty. This, for Jefferson, is his Jay's Treaty. This is a very unpopular embargo. And the reason why is because it doesn't help us. It actually hurts the American economy, and it's going to be repealed in 1809, as you see. And so Jefferson doesn't help us out with this. Jefferson harkens back to the days of where we passed an embargo on the British in the 1760s with the Stamp Act Congress and things like that. But to be quiet, and remember, it hurt the British economy, so they repealed their Stamp Act. But by 1807, our economy had grown so dependent on the British economy, it hurt us more than it hurt the British. It didn't really hurt their economy. Anyway, as you see, because of the Chesapeake incident and faced with no real military option, Jefferson establishes the Embargo Act in 1807. It prohibited any importing and exporting of goods from any country, and was designed to open the British and the French eyes. All it did was it ruined our economy. We went into a depression. Keep in mind, this is for all European countries we're not trading with, not just Britain and France, but it was aimed at Britain and France. This thing's repealed in 1809. The Embargo Act proved to most Americans that economic coercion was not a weapon that the U.S. could effectively use against European powers, because our economy was not strong enough, and we did not have industrialization over here. We did not have manufacturing like Alexander Hamilton put in the first budget, in the first Treasury bill, to encourage this manufacturing in the U.S. We were not doing that at this period of time. So we get to the Lewis and Clark expedition. This is a very successful expedition, and they were to chart the Louisiana Purchase. Jefferson chooses these guys, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, for the job. The expedition went from St. Louis to the Pacific Ocean. They kept journals. They used a young girl, 15-year-old girl, Sacagawea, Native American lady. You can look her up. She does a lot in her lifetime. But one of the things she does as a young guide is she guides this expedition through unknown territory, through the Louisiana Territory. As you see, they took with them, they used her as a navigator, a guide, and an interpreter. This was very successful. It took 2 years and 4 months to complete. Here's a list of President Jefferson's cabinet members. You see here Secretary of State John Madison. You can go on down here. You look Albert Gallatin. He'll come up later. The Secretary of Treasury, and when he's older. But these are his cabinet members. So here's the evolution of political parties, if you want to know.